little bit about Infragistics, what they do, what we are doing for the past 25 years. So that would be interesting to know, because then you know that what we are doing for past so many decades, which are the areas we are contributing. So, Infragistics has a global presence of more than 25 years now. Millions of developers use our product. Many Fortune companies, in fact, most of them rely on our Infragistics control. And we are recognized as the #1 software construction component vendor, once again. So which means the tools and libraries, controls we provide, we are #1 in that niche segment. So that's pretty much about Infragistics. Predominantly, we offer complementing controls and technology with respect to Microsoft, but lately also we have quite interesting products like HTML5 controls, HTML5 jQuery controls like Ignite UI, which you can use in any technology, and prototyping tool, which I'll take you. So these are our customers, partners, whatever you will say. So you can see all the big brands, big SIs, all are our customers and partner in some way. So you can find all this name. This list is not exhaustive, but just try to show you who are those main players. And over the years, we have won numerous awards and accolades. A few of them I just tried to showcase here. So we have got award from Component Source. Last year we won award in Indian Developer Prinze. And so these are the tool set that we offer. So I have provided the list of them here. You can find all of them in our website. What are the areas we are contributing to? So just like I mentioned earlier, we provide visualization controls, libraries, mainly for the .NET technology. So you can see the controls for ASP.NET, WPF, Silverlight, Windows Forms. Then also we have controls for phone development. We have Windows 8 controls, controls for iOS, Android controls, but Android controls is a free community edition, which is free. And also we have controls for Windows Phone. Then we have something called Ignite UI, which I was mentioning, which is technology agnostic, with the HTML5 jQuery control. So you can use this great control anywhere wherever there is a provision for HTML. So you can use it in .NET, PHP, Java, anywhere. So you are not limited to any specific technology in this case. Also, you can develop really great hybrid app. So it's a great tool. On top of it, if I can show you, so which is something called Indigo Studio, right? So this Indigo Studio is a prototyping tool. We already have a commercial release for this. You can do really nice prototyping and wireframing for different platforms, for Windows, for web, for mobile devices. In mobile devices, you can design it for tablet, phone device, for different width and height. So this is really a nice tool. Okay. So these are our product offerings, and you can find it more from our website. Okay. And so now today's agenda, what we are trying to achieve. So I have chosen this topic because nowadays every company and many big companies are investing a lot in analytics in some format. So now with the advent of Hadoop and many other things, analytics are becoming easier. People are trying to use so many different things. Analytics is the buzzword these days. Everybody, every company, let it be marketing, sales. So they're trying to use analytics in certain way to forecast and project and to know more about the business, about people's insight, what they're trying to do, or some way if they can forecast so that they can increase their business. So I thought of choosing this topic, and the whole idea here is the whole idea for today's session is take you through the analysis service and where do we contribute, what kind of offering we have, and how do we leverage with the existing systems that we have for the analysis services. And so as the session goes on, you will learn more about it. So session is pretty much split into two parts. The first part will cover the fundamentals and basics of analysis services and the concepts, data warehousing, data mining concepts. And on the second part, I'll showcase you how using Infragistics tools or controls you can really create nice dashboard and visualization which you can showcase to your top management or to the customer whenever they need. Okay. So if you see Gartner's prediction, this is what they are projecting at this moment of time about analysis services, different companies. So there are four quadrants here. So you can see on the top right, there are leaders, and then challengers, niche players, and the visionaries. Okay. So if you see the leaders, you can see a few of them, like Microsoft right on top, IBM, SAP, Oracle. Oracle also has acquired Hyperion few years back, and to my honor, I have also worked for Hyperion earlier. So Hyperion has a nice product called S-Base, which is a multidimensional database, and then Oracle acquired it. These are the top leaders in the market. Then you can see that there are many niche players. So you can see their name, but as such, we don't see visionaries in this. Maybe with time, when this matures up, you can see more and more players, and we may see a different way of analyzing stuff. And so, the Microsoft's contribution to this analysis services is called SQL Server Analysis Services. So, if you install a piece of software, piece of database called Microsoft SQL Server, that's not the one which is meant for analytics. But if you require, then you have to have SQL Server Analysis Services, which helps you achieve your analytics part. So though it is included with SQL Server license, this is the Microsoft way of creating multidimensional OLAP databases. You can query them using MDX. So MDX is a way of querying multidimensional database. Most of us probably would know the traditional way of accessing database, right? The PL/SQL and SQL, the stored procedures, and the SQL queries, right? So like select star from table where. So this sort of things works fine in database world. But that's not going to work in OLAP databases. So this is Microsoft's powerful data mining, and you can create cubes. Um, so we'll come back to what is a cube. Um, so why we require a cube. So it's a better query performance, and it is optimized and tuned for aggregation calculations. So aggregation calculations, like you have stuff, you have number of things, you can say, okay, how many number are those, if you can sum them up, or maybe you can calculate discount, or maybe something else, some kind of aggregation from the existing data. Because if you see the traditional way of accessing relational database, it is different. So that leads to me to describe why would we ever require this cube, right? So if you just analyze the traditional database, Oracle, SQL, Sybase, whoever it is, they all work in the same fundamental. So basically it is like you have to create tables, which is pretty much two-dimensional in nature, and then you have relation between tables, and so then all you have now is that you query them, right? So select star from this table, or you can make a join statement with another table, and so basically how do you do aggregation there? So aggregation here is, for example, let's say in a table, how many entries are there? So you say select count star, right? And so similarly, you have different aggregation functions or mathematical functions provided by a SQL query. So you use them, and so that's the way and mean you you calculate aggregation and other stuff. But normally, as such, the whole concept and architecture of this relational database is such that it is not meant for analytics. So that means whatever data it stores, it doesn't have it doesn't give you an intelligent way of retrieving stuff. So maybe you might have heard, like, people write hundreds of lines of SQL queries, and sometimes it takes hours and hours to execute the entire query depending upon the size. Then the other aspect will come, like how do you partition, and so the whole idea is this OLTP. This works fine in some cases, but not in case of analytics. So analytics, it's not only about retrieval of data, but kind of managing the whole thing. How do you retrieve the data in milliseconds, and how do you even you update the data in milliseconds probably with time. So, but those kind of things in traditional approach using OLTP approach of querying, you will see that it simply doesn't work out. It will not work out for you, and therefore these concepts and evolution started, and every time and other you can see new things in the market. This is the SQL Server BI semantic model. Okay, and you can see there are three parts to it. Start with the data model, and the middle part is business logic, and the bottom down is data access. So the data access could be from database, line of business application, or data feed, cloud, spreadsheet, text file. So from all these kind of sources, it can retrieve data, and so on top of it you have data modeling. So you you model your data depending upon what kind of analytics you want to have. So basically, you create a model out of it. So so we'll discuss about it, the dimensions and fact tables. So once that data model happens, then any client application can use them. So client application can be as simple as Excel, and then you can have your custom application and so many different things which in front end can consume this information. So you can see on the right hand side the arrow says Power Pivot for Excel, Power Pivot for SharePoint, Analysis Services. So all these things use analysis services. So this is how the semantic model. So here you can probably get a clear picture of what really is happening. So if you see the previous one, I just mentioned data model, business logic, and data access. So here you can see that in the data model there are many different ways you can model your data, whether it's for multidimensional or a tabular approach. Okay, and similarly in the business logic and queries, for the multidimensional part, if you're storing in that way, you can use the MTX queries. So MTX queries anyway everybody using. So it's a universal standard now. And if you're storing in a tabular way, it's a you can even retrieve through tags. So data access, you can see on the multidimensional part, there are three different things: rollup, molap. Sorry, I think I just have made one typo here. Let me just quickly correct it. This is OLAP. Okay. So what are these? Rollup means relational OLAP. So that means it again starts with your source, what kind of database you have. Okay. So for example, you want to use analytics, but then the data source or data source that you have is your traditional database, like SQL. Okay, so if that is the case, as I have discussed some time back, that these databases are not meant for analytics, but anyway, you still can do modeling and other kind of stuff. So, but then, since your starting base is from a relational database, you can use rollup, and it is molap if you are creating your own, or maybe your database is already meant for analytics. Like you might have database for data warehousing already, so which means that you have already created it based on your analytics. You have already used probably ETL or whatever way or mode of creating it. So it's already optimized and it is ready for you. So you can use molap. Molap is a hybrid approach. So it is a combination between rollup and molap. So mostly SQL Server Analysis Services, it uses this mechanism. Also in tabular, you can see direct query. Okay, and so as I was talking some time back, the way it consumes, you can see this is a custom application, and then you can see this is Excel. So now you can see SharePoint inside. Okay, so these are the things who are consuming the client application. Okay, and so on the bottom you can see it's trying to read from different sources like OData, feed, cloud, and those kind of things. So let me tell you the traditional way and traditional approach of storing data, and then what this multidimensional database trying to achieve. So let me just open Excel. Okay, so for example, this is pretty much two-dimensional, right? Let me say that I am storing employee information. Okay, and say, for example, I'm storing something like this. Okay, and so I keep on entering informations and right, and so okay, so let's say I'm storing like this the employee information. Okay, and say I am storing the information in terms of department. So good. So what I'll say that this is your development team. Okay, and so now I'll move to another department. So what I'll do is then I'll copy this, and then paste, and then say I create other set of names from another department, and I create it. Okay, so maybe this is marketing, and so on and so on and so on. So maybe sales, and so now the point is that say that we are storing information like you see in Excel. Then you have different sheet and this, and so but in different sheet we are storing the same schema information with different values. Okay, so now the problem is so this is for organization 1. Okay, and I want to have the similar set of arrangement for organization 2. Then what will you do now? So now the problem is probably you have to create another Excel document, and you do the same approach and keep on doing it. And so now there are multiple documents based on organization. So you can see the complexity here. Okay, so the complexity here is that how you are storing the information in the two-dimensional way, and very quickly when we have the requirement of different dimensions are coming into play, or different angles, different viewpoint, and then you can see that there are problems, and with more and more such inclusion, to maintain and querying all those informations become really very difficult. So so this is how these are the things which are actually addressed in multidimensional database. So not only it stores information in a specific way that is very useful, but also it can give you aggregation and other stuff, and it does it very fast. Okay, so so this is the basic fundamental things that we should understand why we require especially a multidimensional database or analysis services on opposed to the traditional approach of storing it in SQL with differential integrity, and then using the queries to find out our solution. that simply doesn't scale out after a while. So, sorry. So the main features, the benefits of doing all this, the semantic model, BI semantic model of SSAS, that we have the flexibility in terms of multidimensional and tabular modeling. Both the approaches you can do. You can still do the tabular modeling in case like you require like a Excel kind of stuff. That becomes fast and easy, and you can still use it in Excel. So choice of MDX and DAX, it again depends. If you require a real analytics in terms of multidimensional stuff, you can still go for MDX. That's what we are focusing today. And still you can use DAX queries if it is pretty much a tabular format like Excel. Cache and pass-through storage mode, you can cache. So informations are cached so that it can be retrieved fast. So you can fine-tune them based on your requirement, based on what you observe and which should be better. So sometimes what happens is, if you cache a lot of data, you really need that infrastructure, isn't it? Because then you have to invest a lot. If everything you have to cache it. So it again depends the way you want. Similarly, you can take this approach. Okay, and so richness of data modeling capability. SSAS provide really a rich set of interface development tool using which you can do data modeling. It becomes very easy. And fine-grained security, cell level, row level security, multi-language. You can have your information in multi-language. Is quite scalable. So very packed for very high performance, and OLAP for mission critical scale. So for really high performance, you can use VeriPack also, where it takes all the information in RAM and does it. Direct query and rollup for real-time access to data sources. State-of-art compression algorithms. So it's not about storing the data, but what about compression? I mean, so if you are just storing without compression, so you are consuming a lot of data. And let me tell you, for analytics and all, you have terabyte of data. So if you don't store it and you use them, so quickly you run out of space, or it's very difficult to maintain such things. To just give an idea that what could be the biggest size of cube that you can ever imagine, let me tell you that it's more than a terabyte of size, and it can retrieve information in milliseconds. So that's how far it is optimized, and that is how big it is. So I don't have enough information who has that queue, but just to give an idea. And these all scales to the larger enterprise servers. Okay, so different storage mechanism it uses. So I was talking about MOLAP, ROLAP, then this X velocity. So this in-memory stuff. Okay, so it is similar. Why we require a in-memory database, and similarly you can see SAP, HANA, and those kind of things. So basically these days it's all about real-time analytics. If you really want to do real-time analytics, then you have to have everything in memory, because otherwise you will lose a lot of time and ground while retrieving information from disk. Because if it is in disk, then it will take a request and it will fetch that information to your RAM. If it doesn't find it, again it goes back to disk. Again it finds a chunk of data. That's predominantly how the input-output operation happens in your operating system. So page fault will happen. If something misses, again operating system will take another chunk. So you lose 1,000 times more in this case, because your processor is able to process so much of information, but that information is not there in your direct memory, which is called RAM. So the best thing is to load all the information in your primary memory and RAM, so that everything can be processed by processor. So therefore, all this in-memory database concept has come. So if you need real-time processing, you can go ahead and do that. So that's the advantage of current generation's analysis services. So OLAP, it stores in this. You can see typically use 3x compression, or it could be much more now. Because in case of OLAP, you are storing huge data, so that's the way to store. So these are the different ways the storage occurs based on your design and your approach. So I was talking about MDX for multidimensional and DX for tabular. You can see that that's what has been mentioned here. When to choose what. So you can choose a multidimensional project with, you can use MDX queries with OLAP and OLAP approach, and tabular project in case you require that one with tax queries. Right. So when would you really favor the multidimensional approach or a tabular approach? So I tried to list them down here. So multidimensional approach, where you need something as a cube, okay, and there is a hierarchy. It's a parent and child. You have hierarchy like time, year, quarter, month, days. Okay, so hierarchical in nature. So in such cases, you can use many-to-many relationships, and they are excessive. Too many many-to-many relationships. So that doesn't work in tabular. Extreme data volumes. So that's the most critical thing. So if you have extreme data volumes, you got to use this. And small RAM footprint means all the major storage that happens in disk, not in RAM, as and when you require, and that would be loaded in RAM, of course, and a few things for case. It's very useful for financial models, for budgeting, forecasting, and those kind of stuff. So this is really useful. And tabular, once again, real time, because you can use a direct query and it all loads into RAM, because the data is not as huge as in case of multidimensional approach. Excel-based modeling, non-relational data sources. Okay, so you get the in-memory performance benefit, of course, and it's simpler to learn. Use this approach when the model is simple. So in case of simpler models, you should be using this, and so you can use it pretty much everywhere. You are not limited as if it can only happen, but in case of simpler model, use it, like sales and OLTP transaction analysis. Those are the places you can use them. So that's pretty much summarized. So coming back to the OLAP structure, because we are discussing OLAP for the last half an hour, but how exactly it does it? So the concept all happens through these two key things, which is called dimensions and measures. So dimensions are nothing but the entity. Okay, so it could be your employee, it could be your product, whatever you are trying to sell, anything. So any entity, any business entity is your dimensions. Okay, it can be your time frame. So like I was talking, yearly, quarterly, monthly. So these all are business entities, right? So these all you treat them as a dimension, and so as we mentioned about dimensions, you can store, you can have these hierarchical relationships, and then you have attributes like what does dimension holds. For example, employee would have different attributes like so. But then what are measures? So measures are something the the number that you can associate with a dimension. For example, you can say the cost of it is this much, or this is the discount, or so those kind of things. So these are the numbers. These are the numbers you associate with dimensions. So measures are something which is very useful for us to do this aggregation calculations. Okay, and so based on those two things, the entire cube is made, and will I'll showcase you how exactly it is. In any case, so before we jump and see how we can access it, since we are talking about analysis, there is something called XMLA. So which is nothing, XML for analysis. So this XML for analysis is available over HTTP, and it's very simple. It's a way to retrieve all these informations over HTTP, and as long as your client application supports it. Okay, so if anybody has a smartphone, they can just scan this QR code. The QR code here I have just pasted for you. You can just scan this. So it will take you to a page where it has given the steps. How do you configure your SQL Server Analysis Services for access over web? Okay, so these are not very difficult, but it will take probably hour or two based on how you will follow. But you will get tons of material how you really configure this thing. So I'll just probably showcase you how that happens. A little bit of okay. Let me just see if I can. Let me. Okay, so let me bring it to the view. So it's the same one that I just give the QR. So basically, here the steps are given. Basically, you need to copy few files available in SQL Server directory, which are called msmdform.dll, and then there is a ini file. Yeah, so maybe it is here. Yeah, so all the steps are given, but I'm telling you how exactly it is. You basically need to copy these files, which are available in your disk, as long as you have installed SQL Server Analysis Services in your machine, and then you just copy it to your IIS web directory, and then what you need to do is basically set it as an application, and once you do that, this will be available over internet. Okay, and then you can use it in whichever client. It could be your Excel or whichever it is. So the steps are given. You just have to follow it to enable XMLA. Okay, right. So yes. So that's pretty much about cubes. But before I jump to something else, I will try to show you uh, some cubes in terms of how you visualize them. Okay. For that, just see this. Uh, so yes. So this is probably a way the cube looks like. Okay. It is three-dimensional here in nature, but it can be any dimension. It can be more than three. But if it is more than three, probably it is very difficult to draw it here. So three-dimensional is quite easy to understand in this case. Okay. So if you see this cube, right, since it is three-dimensional, pretty much the front end that you see here, for example, this person, and so this is two-dimensional, and then you move in this direction, okay, and so if you move in this direction, then it adds the third dimension depth to this, okay. So then it becomes three-dimensional, and let's say that we are storing information like this, okay. So for example, this way you are telling what are the products, okay, this line, okay, the x-axis, y-axis, x-axis, and then you are storing information about which quarter it is. Sorry to say that I haven't put the number accordingly. I just put some dummy number 1276, but it would be a real actual information which I'll try to showcase in my demo. But for sake of understanding, let's assume that this is how the product information is stored in the x-axis and which quarter is stored in y-axis, and then this is stored for a different country, okay. So you can see the country, okay. So this is the country, okay, this is the country. So country means this is for country 1, this is for country 2, then it would be country 3, any level, like this way it moves on, okay. And so similarly, if you come this way, I am just showing probably 3 of them, but it can be again the same, 4, 5, and 6. So it moves this direction, this moves again this direction, okay. So it's limitless, it moves either way, okay. So this is how predominantly the cube is, okay. So now what are the things you can do over the cube if it is for analysis, okay. So there are 2 concepts, one is slicing, one is dicing, okay. And so what is slicing? Slicing means you cut it like a piece of cake, okay. And so let's see what are the different ways you can slice it, okay. So you can pretty much slice this one piece like this, okay, this only this piece, okay. So this is the only one piece. I am not taking this, okay, not this one. So this is the first piece of slice. So what will it return me? It will return me the product and in all each quarter for a country 1, okay. This is one slice, okay. So if I choose to take another slice, I can just say this slice, okay. This is 2. So all the product in all quarter for country 2. This could be my another slice, okay. And then even I can slice it in a different way, which is like this, which is like I take I take one like this. So this means it takes information. It takes information for all the country in all the country in all the quarters for product 3, for example, because suppose this is product 1, this is product 2, this is product 3. Okay, so all the countries because this is country 1, this is country 1, this is country 2, all the quarters because I am taking all the vertical. Okay, and but product is just 3, so for a specific product. So this could be also one of my slides. Then there could be another way of taking that. I just take a slice like this. Okay, I just take a slice like this. So this is just exactly opposite. Means all the countries, all the product for 1 quarter, because this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. Okay, so I just take for 1 quarter and for this. So you can see with slicing, if you understand clearly with the picture, see with this slicing approach, you are free to slice any piece of it, and then it will return you information based on that. So that is how the cubes helps you, in your analytics. It provides you the information based on what exactly you need. So this is the concept of slicing. So dicing is something like you zoom in. For example, you take a piece of cube. Okay, so now you take a piece of cube from this one, maybe this one, and so maybe I have put it here, this one. Okay, so this cube is a part of this bigger cube only. It's part of this bigger cube. Okay, so but if you see it clearly, this cube, if you zoom in, it will have also the same representation like this cube. Means it will hold more and more and more information based on how you have stored it. If it is a hierarchical in nature, you can trace in inside. So this cube will pretty much look like this cube. Okay, so that is dicing. You can just zoom in, zoom out. You can zoom into this cube. You can see more and more information. Right. So this is how the cube works predominantly, and so that's how it becomes very useful for you. Now, all this thing we are storing about, storing information, retrieving and everything, and rotating this information, right? Like right now in this, you can see on top it is a product, and then this quarter. I can just rotate it, and then the product comes on the y-axis and quarter goes on x-axis. Okay, but so in this case, you may think it is the same, but it is not same for business. So for example, in this case, since product is on top, that means you are trying to find all the products sold for each quarter. Okay, that is how it means. If quarter is on top and product is in bottom, that means all in all the quarters, how many products you have sold. Okay, this is how the business interprets it. So all this information is not same. So if you rotate the cube, you get a different impression altogether. So how do you rotate? You rotate it through pivot. Okay, so now from that pivot table concepts and everything has come, and Excel has pivot. Okay, so I'll showcase you how it is. So now if this thing is clear, I'll just try to move on to my slide, right? Well, sometime back I described about how you can do this XMLA configuration. Okay, so once you do this XMLA configuration, then this information is you can access, you can query analysis service over HTTP. Okay, and so I'll show you how the URL would look like. It becomes very, very simple. So I'm taking you directly to our website for the demo. Okay, so it becomes very clear. Okay, so you see, once you do the XML configuration, let me just showcase you. Okay. Let me find the right URL for you. Trying to, okay, binding to, sorry. Okay, so if you go to our website, it shows you different bindings that you can do. So binding to XML data, so that we discussed some time back, right? Okay, so once you bind, how you are supposed to bind? Once you configure the analysis services by deploying those DLLs in IIS, you get a URL similar to this. Just see this. So this is our sample analysis services database from Infragistics that we use for demo. So similarly, if you deploy yours, you can see information like this. So now just check the value whether this is correct or not. So it has to end in MSMD form.dll because this is what we deployed. If you remember the steps, you can check it later on. So I'm just copying this information, okay, and I'm opening the Excel file, okay, and I go to data, and then I say data sources. It gives me so many different options. Okay, I just click analysis services. Okay, and then I give the server name. I give the same URL that I have. I have taken from our sample URL. If you configure yours one, you can use that. So if you just give it and say next, okay, and so you do finish. Okay. Takes a little time to retrieve from your data, from the database, and it will provide you all the cubes, dimensions, and measures. Okay. So this is pretty much the way. So you can see that once you configure, it is also available in Excel. There's a great way to know whether that URL is working or not. So now you can see that with that URL, all these informations are coming to play. So again, so different things are there. You can just select the one that suits you. So the pivot, the Excel pivot will use you, and it will show all these information. Okay. It takes all this information and stores. So this is basically the pivot. Okay. So you can see the way it tries to show the I expand. Now it is a hierarchical data. So you can see Australia, and then it has different Queensland, New South Wales, Tasmania, and you keep on expanding it. You see the informations are shown accordingly. Okay. So because this pivot table internally is able to make all those MTX queries for you that you don't have to know. And so that is how it tries to show you. Okay, so similar stuff we will try to replicate in our controls, and then we know how Infragistics helps you creating all this in your application, let it be web-based or Windows-based using WPF, Silverlight, those kind. So anytime, any question, keep on asking. I'll address towards the end. Okay, so feel free to write down your questions to me. Okay, so let's jump back to our website and see how it works. So I'm just doing it once again for you, so that we understand how it works. So I'm just clicking it again. Okay, so so if you go to our website, so this is something I'm trying to show using our Ignite UI, which is a set of HTML5 jQuery controls. So this controls you can use in anywhere there is a provision for HTML, and so you can use anywhere. So if you go to our sample site like this in our website, and in the bottom you can see the code itself, HTML code itself, what is the code for this. So it's pretty straightforward the way it is. So the data source has been chosen as OLAP XMLA data source, and then it has some of the attributes like server URL that we just try to see it in Excel. So whatever URL you have, you can use this to have all the demo cubes that we have. You can use in your application. See, all our samples are based on this particular URL. So it is pointing to our demo SSAS database in Infragistics. Okay, and then there is a catalog, and then you say which cube. There are different cubes in this called Adventure Works, and there is another cube. You can so the way it has been modeled, it has different cubes available. Which cubes you want to use? Okay, you configure that cube in this. Then the major group, like I said, what are so there are different measures available, and in rows and columns, whatever you want to show, you select that way, and that's the way it is. Then you plot it over the pivot grid. Okay, and so now let's go on top. Okay, as soon as you configure this, you see it like this. Okay, so so this is there are many parts to it. Okay, and one is the view, one is the grid, and one is the selector. Okay, so there are three sections in this. Okay, the right hand side, this one, if you see, that is your grid. This is the pivot grid where we are actually plotting the data, the information. That's the grid. Okay, and then we have the other two sections. Here, what you do, you select. You select what are the dimensions, what are the measures, what are the cubes, and what are things. Those informations, once you connect to the URL, you see this information here. Okay, and so then the next thing is below there are like filters. These are the filters, and so here you configure what you want to see on the row and column on the right hand side pivot grid. So these are the three parts. Okay, and so you can see that there are when we connect to the data source, the SSAS, now using the selector, you can see automatically it shows different cubes. So here we have two cubes available. One is Adventure Works, one is mine customers. Okay, so if you see the code below, it has mentioned adventure works, this one. Okay, so that is the reason why adventure work is selected. Okay, and then internet sales and those things have been there, and so similarly you can see those things have been put here. Okay, internet order count, product categories, sales categories, sales. Okay, and so you once you select the cube, you can see all the measures. Okay, like internet sales, so it gives you all the sales the way it has been designed in the cube. Okay, so this is the sales, and then you have other things available like customer. So see, for example, geography, you can see country wise, the top level is all, then you can see country will have state would have city, postal code, customer, that way. So this is the hierarchical way it has been stored in your cubes in SQL Server Analysis Services. So once it is all modeled that way there, you see it like this here. So now you just select the one that you want to use and good to go. So you can see I can drag and drop stuff over here. Okay, you see I'm just dragging a product and put it on the column. Okay, and similarly I'll say for example promotion. Okay, I put a promotion over here. So you see how the informations are plotted. Okay, the left hand side and the right hand side. So now if you see on the row section, I have already dropped the sales territory. Okay, this is the rows and these are the columns. Okay, so columns are appearing columns and this row is appearing in the row, right? And so now if you do the sales, you expand the sales territory, it makes query to database and it tries populating. So all sales territories will have Europe, North America, then Europe will have something inside it, France, Germany. So this is the way the information has been stored. Similarly, on the right hand side, those corresponding informations are shown. And similarly, on the column side, since we have put so many things, say for example, you need to know what are the products. Okay, and so now I'm expanding the products. So you see, the products will have bikes, clothing, and other things. Now even in probably you expand bike, maybe it will have different brands. Yeah. So road bikes, touring bikes. So you see how the data aggregation has happened and how the informations are plotted. So this is all it is reading from cubes. So similarly, I am expanding the promotions. So whatever promotion it will have, similar for the promotion, it will try to expand and it will plot that information. Okay. So all these informations, the way it happens, so it gives you a pictorial representation. You just do everything using a pivot grid. You just, and now suppose I want to remove something. Okay. Now let's say I take this promotion, try to drop it on the rows instead of column. Okay. Earlier the promotion was on the column. Now you see the promotions are in row. Now you can expand the promotions here. Okay. So the whole concept of pivot is you can do all these things. You can make row as column, column as row. You can drag and drop. You can remove. So now if I want to remove the sales territory, I just remove the sales territory. Only I want promotion in the row. Okay. See, now it will only categorize based on promotions, no more on the based on the zone earlier. Okay. So the one, whichever way you select, similarly the same information would be plotted over here. So this is the importance, or I would say the advantage of using a pivot, and that's what pivot enables you to do. So this is what I'm showing in HTML5. So you see, this is just a simple HTML page over which I am doing all these things. Okay, so you can do all these things nevertheless. So there are many other customization you can do, like what you can drag and drop over here, what you don't allow to be placed in columns and rows. Those kind of all customization and configuration, all is possible in Infragistics controls. You can customize the entire look and feel. Okay, so this is pretty much the way. So you can see there is, you do not need to write a single piece of MTX queries. That if you remember that to access the information inside cubes, you require MTX, right? But where are we using MTX here? No, because it is all automatically happening underneath. You don't need to do anything as long as you are expanding and shrinking. The equivalent queries has been formed and information is fetched and been shown to you. Okay, so it's very easy with just few lines of code like this. Okay, this is as much of information you require, not more than this. With this much of code, you are able to provide this pivot table, pivot grid, where you can do, you can plot and do all information. So it becomes very easy actually. Okay. Similarly, this is something as long as you are reading information from SQL Server Analysis Services, right? Okay. Let me see if there is any question I have. Okay. Oh, there are so many questions. Okay, we'll go back to it in few minutes. There are so many interesting questions, of course, right? Yeah. So what I was telling, this is something you are trying to read from. This is something you are trying to read from SQL Server Analysis Services. But at times you will see that in organization we have this information stored in flat files. Maybe it is in Excel, maybe it is in a TXT file, that you have stored information in a way which could be interpreted as analytics. For example, suppose instead of having all this information in cubes, can we really construct it and read it from a file and create our own cube? Because there could be scenarios when you do not have SQL Server Analysis Services, but still you should have a way of plotting this information in a pivot and do the slice, dice, and rotation, right? So for that reason, we have something called flat data source, where you construct these cubes. Okay, you construct these cubes, and then you just do it. In this case, you are not reading from analysis services. So you see this difference here, little difference. Okay, so here we are creating this data source, a flat data source, and we are creating our cube. It's a clothing with some unit price, the seller name. We are creating cubes like this. Okay, now all these informations we hard code here, but you can read from a flat file also. So we need to populate our controls with these information, and then we create the cubes and measures, right, based on the above data. Okay, and once we do that, this entire thing is again available for us in the same format. And the difference here is that we are not reading from analysis services. It is all from the flat file. So you see, in the earlier case, it was making query and it was slow. So it is doing very fast because this is all done in memory, and this cube has been built, and it is reading from that information. And once you have all this information, you can now change the position and do whatever way you want. Okay, you can do the same sort of operations, and now you have a cube out of nowhere, and this cube doesn't exist in analysis services, but you have created your own cube, and now you can play with it using our selector and view on the left hand side. So that's the beauty. So this is also, so there are two ways. One is through SQL, and one is through plot data source. Okay, so you can see all these samples. And quickly before I join into Q&A session, I'll try to showcase you that is this the only way to plot, or we can use this information in pivot grid to do something else. So this is the example which shows that thing. So what this basically is doing is we have the pivot grid underneath the way we saw earlier, right? You can expand and all. So on top, what I'm doing is I am reading the cell values of the grid, and then I'm plotting it as a graph. Okay. So this is all what it is doing. It is reading from the pivot grid. So if you see the code, you have different events as soon as you change, and so those events are fired in the pivot grid, and so you can see this section. So it's nothing much. All the sample codes are available. So you can see that it reads from the cell grid, and it tries to plot it in a graph. So as soon as you expand, more and more information you have. So what it is doing, it's taking these two values, unit sold and unit price, and based on the quarter, it is trying to plot it. So that is what it is doing. So you are free to do anything. Either you want to plot graph or you want to do something else. As long as you have information in this grid, you can plot it anywhere you else. So that's almost all about today's session, and I'll jump back to the Q&A section. Some questions are there, but you are free to see so many other things which are available in our website. If you go to Ignite UI, and you will find a host of examples. We have charts and everything. Okay, so now going back to our, so I am once again, okay, so this is my email ID. So in case you want to communicate, you have some queries, you can write to me, right? Ravi writes, any tool for HTML. Okay, so this is the tool I was talking about, right? This Ignite UI, the one that I showed you. So this is the HTML5 jQuery controls, which you use in your HTML page. Okay, Infragistics migration. So I never understood what is migration here for. Maybe okay. Can you send me the previous URL? 1 second. This is the URL. No, sorry. I think this is the URL. In any case, if you, okay, let me just paste it for you. Okay. Let me just paste this URL in the window so that everybody can see this. I'm just pasting in the chart. So you can use this URL, or you can scan it. Okay, you can scan it. I have just pasted in the chat section. You can see that URL. Sorry. Okay. So how this pivot different from Telerik rapid pivot is based on? See, based on performance. Again, performance is something that you have to find out. We claim always that our grid are the best grid in the world at this moment of time in terms of performance, and it is already established by independent review that our grid and our controls performance-wise better than any of our competitors. So, but I would invite you just to use our controls, download this all these applications, trial version, evaluate it, and see and compare for yourself whether this is fast or not. Okay. Does this pivot? Can you how to create? Can you show us how to create cube? So the whole idea was that to show us to create a cube. The whole thing is that I need to have SQL Server Analysis Services. So if you want, you just write me down. I will send you many YouTube links. Okay, it tells you how to create cubes, and for that you have to have analysis services installed in your machine. It gives you a modeling. It gives you instruction how do you create cubes from your existing database. Okay, that's you can find tons of material. That's not a problem. Does it suitable for business analytics? I'm not sure which one you are talking about Infragistics or analysis, because analysis services is meant for business analytics, is not it? And this is still the market leader. Okay, so now it's all about how you are storing information. So the way you try to model, the way you have prepare your data, and based on data and based on your modeling, you have all these cubes, the dimensions, measures, everything is available for you. And now, once it is available, the only thing that you need to do is to query them and plot it. Okay, and so the one that I try to showcase you is that you already have cubes, and you just use it to plot it in pivot crate. Okay, and so you just manipulate the way it is. You drag and drop all those things to the rows and columns, and you plot them. Okay, but anything specific like custom way you want to query or to fetch data, remember that I was talking about MDX queries, right? So MDX queries is required in case you do not want to expose your data the way it is, like through Xmla, but in turn it is required to call your web services, which in turn internally calling through MDX services. So to access from .NET, there's something called ADOMD.NET. Okay, let me write it for you. Okay, so this is the one. So which is just like to access the traditional database, you have ADO.NET, right? So through ADO you can access your SQL. And similarly, for to connect to multidimensional database, it is called ADOMD.NET. So in ADOMD.NET, you use your MDS skill set to fetch data and information, and then once you have the data, you have the different ways and means to plot it. So, for example, what we try to do in flat data source. So flat data source is not connecting actually to your analysis services queue, right? But rather we are creating our own queue from the information that we have. So there are many ways. Either you get it from a file or from a services that only you have information, but you don't have any information about the cubes. Then you can create your own cubes if you have that intelligence. And then once you have that cube, you can use our pivot grid and pivot selector to slice it, dice it to whatever you want to do, right? Okay. What is the average time for populating report of about 1 lakh rows? Again, So it depends. It depends upon the speed of your server, where you are connecting to, and so as long as you have that information, then in no time it will be bind to our crate. So it is all about how much time it takes to have that information from the remote server. Okay, so that being the only constraint here. But as soon as you overcome that, you have good speed. As soon as you have your data, and then it takes no time to bind and to be plotted in Infragistics controls actually. So it hardly takes time. So that's the thing. And we have tons of example sample in our website. It's not even about 1 lakh rows, but about 1 million rows. Our grids are made with performance in mind. Okay, so it can even have millions of data. You can do a tons of things to improve performance. Okay, and it never really hang. And there are different ways on demand loading and Facebook, and as you scroll, then it keeps loading. There are so many things that you can do, and you are free to do those things. So it again based on your demand and your requirement. Okay. So here the key takeaway is that you have to read it, and as soon as the data is there, it will plot it. Okay. Another questions: will the grid fetch the data to browser for interaction, or query is made for? Yeah. So query is made for every expansion or collapse and change in columns. Okay. Okay. Once again, let me just take you through that website so that I can just show you quickly. For example, let me XML data source so that to establish what I'm telling is correct. Okay. So you see, if I expand, then it tries to retrieve, because otherwise you have millions of informations, and if it fetches all of data at one time, then it will simply not work. It will wait for eternity, right? So as soon as you try to hit and expand, so these are the one that I was talking about dicing, right? I mean, you zoom in, zoom out. Like you expand Europe, then you see France, then you expand France, you see something. Similarly, you squeeze them, you shrink them, and expand them. So based on that, so the query is made, and the information is retrieved from website and plotted for you. So that is how it has to work actually. And the same if you see in any tool. Even if you see in Excel, as soon as you expand, it tries to query, because otherwise it will have tons of information. It cannot load, or it doesn't have any knowledge how to retrieve all those information. What are those? Can we use SSQ for SSRS report? Now, they two are two different things, isn't it? SSRS reporting is much different than SSAS queue. Though I never explored whether SSRS can read from SSAS cube or not as the data source, as a data source information. That need to be seen. Okay. So what is the differ update option for? Okay, that's a good question. I need to check. Even not sure what is it. One second. Okay, that's a good question. I think I'll inform you offline. I am not sure right now. before update, probably it looks like that it may take some time to update. I mean, probably that can be configurable, something like that. Let me to see. That we can probably find in the API documentation itself, what exactly it does. All right, yeah, sorry, I don't have answer at this moment of time. All right, I think there is no more question. So thanks for your time, and I really believe that you have enjoyed this session. For further improvement or any suggestion, write to us anytime, and we'll surely address each of your concerns, or I will try to give session based on your demand. Okay, so this is my email ID, and this is the Facebook site that we have, and feel free to reach us anytime. And thank you for your time. Have a nice day.